The Detroit Pistons are about to come up on a crucial season after having one of the biggest single-season turnarounds in NBA history, winning 30 more games than the year prior. It is clear to say that Detroit basketball is back. Cade Cunningham is set to make the All-NBA leap and could possibly become a top 10 NBA player. Jaden Ivey is set to make a huge bounce-back season after missing the majority of last season, and young but promising guys like Isaiah Stewart, Marcus Sasser, Isaiah Thompson, and Jalen Duren are poised to make their own leaps. And one player that Detroit Pistons fans should be excited about is the former lottery pick Ron Holland II. Holland is coming off of a quiet but productive season. The former number 5 overall pick put up 6 points and 3 rebounds per game while being one of the best defensive players of the draft class. Now, his stats don't jump off the table, but between his age, his potential, and the play that we saw from last season, there are a lot of reasons to be excited about Holland. 2 years ago, Holland was a part of the G League Ignite squad, putting up some of the best numbers in the league, averaging 21, 7, and 3 per game. His season was cut short by injury, but that didn't stop him from becoming a lottery talent. On draft night, Ron Holland II was one of the surprise picks of the draft. While some boards had him going around the 10th or 11th spot, the Pistons grabbed him early at the number 5 spot. While picking a player who's a non-shooter for a team whose core is full of non-shooters, that was definitely unexpected, but the Pistons draft plan was simple. They wanted the best player available and somebody who had an incredibly high upside, and there's a very strong argument that at least at the time, that was Holland II. Holland was one of the most intriguing prospects of the draft class. Of course, he put up great scoring numbers for the Ignite, however, he was still an incredibly raw scorer, not exactly being the most efficient player in the world, especially from 3. However, when going downhill and as a defender, he was a monster. Described as a hard worker, Ron Holland has one of the highest motors in the entire draft class, and he is somebody who gives it his all on every single play. Add into this, he is a freak athlete, standing 6'8" with a near 7-foot wingspan and a 38-inch max vertical. Ron Holland II was born to be a devastating defender. He gained 15 pounds over the offseason, so expect him to be guarding both forward positions consistently. And just diving into his rookie season, we see more and more flashes of his brilliance. At 20 years old, Ron Holland II might just have one of the highest potentials and one of the best upsides in his entire draft class. Defensively, he lived up to the expectations and then some. His individual defensive rating was 110.9, a whole point per 100 possessions lower than an already great defense of the Detroit Pistons. Per 36 minutes, he would be on pace to average around 2 combined steals and blocks per game, and most impressively, he did this while guarding the number 1 option. As a rookie who played limited minutes, he would see himself guarding the opposing team's best players and NBA veterans. Having that sort of defensive impact on a playoff team at 19 years old is insane. And that's the thing, he was a 19-year-old on a playoff team. There are few players in NBA history this young that are getting consistent minutes and being effective on playoff teams. For Ron Holland II, he played in 81 games, averaging 15 per game. And as a young player who is not exactly a great shooter and doesn't have the strongest offensive skill set, it is a clear sign in the organization that they trust him and see what he's capable of if he is getting consistent minutes. And while his offensive game does have questions, don't underestimate his abilities at the rim. Possibly the best part of Holland's game is his ability in transition, to where he ranked in the 76th percentile. And at the rim is where he showed the most promise, finishing around 67% of the time. That kind of efficiency actually puts him up with some of the best slashers in the entire NBA. And while his half-court game does need improvement, it was far from absolutely terrible. He shot 47% from the field and averaged 6 per game in 15 minutes while carrying a defensive burden. But he did also have some games that showed promise. In December against Boston, he dropped 26 points while going 11 of 14 in just 21 minutes. And again against the Pelicans in March, he dropped 26 points going 10 of 14. These are small performances, especially over an 82-game season, but there's still flashes of his potential nonetheless. Despite not being known as a great playmaker, I think he showed a lot of promise as a passer and avoiding turnovers. Per 36 minutes, he only averaged 2 turnovers per game, which as a rookie is more than solid. And another promising aspect of his game that adds into his slashing ability is his ability to get to the free throw line. So we look at free throw rate, which is just a measure of free throws to field goal attempts, and amongst all rookies in their free throw rate, Holland II ranks 6th. That is tied with center Zach Edey. Yes, his offensive game definitely still has some concerns, but it seemed like there was definitely a lot of improvement in this over the offseason. In the Summer League, he would look like himself in the G League, putting up nearly 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, shooting 53% from the field and 46% from 3. Not only was this a good stretch of basketball, but it got Holland's name out there as he earned all Summer League second team honors. And like I've been saying, Detroit appears to be excited surrounding Holland. Coach JB Bickerstaff said his play in the Summer League and his work over the summer has earned him more minutes. Bickerstaff would also go on to compliment his playmaking and scoring, something he believes is going to stand out next season. He's so confident in this that we might actually be seeing minutes with him lined up against Azar Thompson, someone he hardly played with at all last season. And assuming that he does take that shooting leap, a duo of Azar Thompson and Ron Holland II would be devastating not only defensively but in transition. Factoring in his 15-pound weight gain, Holland will be better equipped to guard the larger forwards in the league, pushing him towards his ultimate defensive potential. The Detroit Pistons are already one of the best young teams in the NBA, and we definitely saw that last year as they broke their streak of missing out on the playoffs. But now that we factor in a guy like Ron Holland who could be making a huge leap, he could be a guy who could be entering into that core and be putting his name up with the names of guys like Azar Thompson, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and so on. As the Pistons continue to get better, look for Ron Holland II to be a major factor in the comeback of Detroit basketball. That is it for this one. If you liked the video, you know what to do, and I will catch you all next time.